best part of subject to is you actually own the asset. So you have legal title without any sort of out-of-pocket cost. At least that's the way we like to try to do them. But at the end of the day, you're getting a house basically for free, and tough to beat that.
Welcome to Pink TV, everyone, where you're going to be able to channel your financial freedom through real estate. I'm your host, Michael Matthew. We've got a phenomenal episode out here today. Most of you are going to recognize Mr. Scott Ulmer, the CEO of Little Pink Houses of America. And guys, we've got a dynamite series that we're going to put out here right now, and it's based on really the tremendous response that we've gotten off some of these videos. So obviously we do some cross-pollination with VIP Financial Education on YouTube. A lot of y'all are familiar with that. Obviously, as we're building up our Pink TV channel, we're going to have members of both sides that are going to, things are going to resonate. We know that people are in all walks of life, have different amounts of money, are in different spots in their investment career, but we want to continue to bring phenomenal content on this channel that you guys can utilize right now, whether or not you are an affiliate with us, which welcome, guys. We love you and love our Pink family. But those of you that are maybe just taking a look under the hood, kicking the tires right now, and these are videos that are going to be really important for you so that you know that we are, obviously we specialize in executive lease purchase. We make no bones about that. That's really the baseline for our business model. However, we also like to call ourselves the Swiss Army knife. So every business out there that I'm aware that is still standing today, obviously we are, has had the ability and the foresight to pivot during tough times right now, and we are no different. And in fact, we have excelled during one of the toughest, really crises and obviously pandemics in the history of the world. Now, we're not going to go back to the bubonic plague now because it was a little bit of a different time. Healthcare was a little bit different back then. However, we've made it, guys, and we've had the ability to pivot during this. What we love about the strategy today is it's so, it's just not well known, right? So you're going to go out there, you're going to see white noise, you're going to see the basics, the real estate investing 101, you're going to see lease options, you're going to see wholesaling. This is totally different, guys. It's very technical, and when it gets technical, that means you can really put yourself on the hook if you make some mistakes. So we're bringing Scott on the channel, obviously here today for obvious reasons. I don't need to be redundant on that, but he is I've been in the game a long time, guys. I've never met a mind like his, and I hate giving the guy compliments. However, Scott's going to walk us through some sub-2 deals today, talk to you guys about, actually, we're going to do a series on it. So how to find them, how to identify, how to capitalize during today's market, and ultimately how to put more money in your pocket. Subject to, Scott, kind of break that down. If they haven't seen the previous videos, what is that? What does it mean?
Yeah, so subject to, and thank you for having me on, always a pleasure, it's a strategy where, as you said, the title to the property transfers legally, and yet the mortgage that is under the seller's name that they're personally responsible for remains in place. So you agree to take that over, you're buying the home subject to the underlying mortgage remaining in place. So the phrase comes just from that. And big question is, why would sellers do this, right? Why would a seller knowingly give you their home legal title, which takes them 100% out of any sort of ability to have the title back should something happen to you, yet leave their mortgage in place that they become fully, that you become fully responsible for without any personal liability. So definitively or definition-wise, that's what it means. It is a great strategy for the right folks because, as you say, you get paid all along the way. Up front, you get paid in cash flow, and then the best part of subject to is you actually own the asset. So you have legal title without any sort of out-of-pocket cost. At least that's the way we like to try to do them. But at the end of the day, you're getting a house basically for free, and tough to beat that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough to beat that, getting a house for free. So, you know, what we love about executive lease purchase and these no cash, no credit deals is obviously you're never putting yourself on the hook. Now with this, and we'll dive in subsequent videos about there being obviously some expenses, some out of pocket with title transfer and whatnot, but you ultimately own the asset, whether it's a $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 house.
You own it.
It's yours.
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
So my question would be, and I've been in the game for a long time, and others that are out there that are responding, they're giving us comments, they're giving us feedback, giving us emails. Why is this not more prevalent? Is it because it is so technical?
Yeah, I would say so. So there are some moving parts, and I think that that's important to know. And obviously, and we always caution people, before you're going to transfer title to your entity that has a loan attached to it in somebody else's name, you want to make sure you're obviously doing it right. We want to do business the right way, and certainly there are kind of checks and balances that we implement. But I think because of the moving parts, people are they don't quite understand maybe the whys and wherefores, and more importantly, the details that keep them safe, and then the seller ultimately protected as well. So
is that where the devil is?
The devil lies in the details. That's right. That's right. But that's probably the biggest reason. As you said at the outset, there's a lot of white noise out there. People that give you maybe some of the basics on subject to, but I think the details are why people maybe shy away from it. So it's a unicorn in our world. We see a lot of interest in it, as you know, and I think it's because we have the know-how how to take these down, and with the right market conditions, which we think are forthcoming at some point in the near term, these are really a great strategy to have under your belt with the right market conditions.
Yeah, you really took the words out of my mouth for my next question right now. I don't know if you're staring at my notes.
I'm peeking over.
Get out of here. What are the right market conditions? Obviously, we talk a lot about on the channel about reading tea leaves, about being informed, about being positioned and ready to take advantage. Guys, and I've been on the channel here for years, and for the last couple of years, I've talked about this pending market bust, and I say that with a smile at this point. No one knows, right? I mean, no one knows. If they claim to know, they're lying to you. So I'm the first to admit that I've made multiple mistakes and prognostications over the years here. However, we are seeing some of these trends come to life right now. We are seeing markets cooling down. Yeah. What's a market that this would be a great fit for, Scott?
Yeah, so we are seeing
as far as conditions go.
Sure. We've been, just as a sidebar, we're seeing conditions cooling off a little bit too. Longer days on market, more amenable to different offers and types of offers, and whereas just 30 days ago we were seeing a lot less of that. So you look at this, the facts of the environment in the market right now. As everybody knows, there was a forbearance that was put on, or excuse me, there was a moratorium put on that halted any sort of evictions. And what was really crazy, and we talked about this I think on camera and off camera, is that as a landlord, you couldn't go out and collect your rents. In fact, it was actually a federal offense for you to try to do so in some case, and that's a little extreme, but that's actually what the law said. And so with the moratoriums that you had renters that in some cases, of course, were maybe painting the highlights of only a certain few, but out buying new things and kind of visible things that they were purchasing, yet they weren't making their rent payments because they by law didn't necessarily have to. Landlords did. So we think as the moratoriums lift, forbearances that were granted, as those kind of come to fruition or have their due, we think that there's going to be landlords that are tired. There's going to be people that now that kind of things are getting back to normal are going to be a situation where they may be behind in payments. There's a Latin phrase, lis pendens, which is essentially a pre-foreclosure, NOD, notice of default. People that are behind a certain amount of payments have kind of form of notification. That's really a great target, the pre-foreclosure. People that some cases have equity, some cases don't. And again, you're getting a free house at the end of the day. So it's great when you have a lot of equity, but we've made them work when they don't have a lot of equity today. Time is your friend in that situation. So, but I think looking at the statistics and the facts of the market conditions today, moratoriums lifted, forbearances kind of running their course, I think we're going to see a lot of opportunities here in the coming weeks and months for potential sub-2 sellers.
Yeah, I love that. Before we get to my next question, guys, if you like information like this on the channel, you want us to keep coming back with experts like Scott. I hate calling you an expert, but you're as good as it gets.
That's two comments, by the way, two and one.
You're as good as it gets.
Thank you.
And you certainly know more than I do on this subject, which is why we're bringing you on the channel, guys. We're always going to try and bring on the best of the best, the experts in any field or any niche, specifically with real estate investing. It can be so convoluted, white noise out there. It can be very technical, which is what this sub-2 is right now, which is why it's not as prevalent as we think it could be. If you want more information like this, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button below, guys. That helps out our algorithms, give us an indication that you guys want more information like this. How do you prepare? So we're seeing market conditions, we're seeing things trend. If I'm in your shoes right now, which I effectively I am.
You can are.
What are you doing right now to prepare for that? When you see, you've been in the game 25 years,
25 years, yep.
Yeah, so when you see these things happen, and it's cyclical, guys, we know that market conditions really correct about every 10 years. We're 2 or 3 years overdue at this point, since 2008. What are you doing right now? You're reading this. How are you preparing?
So
or how do you recommend the audience prepare?
Yeah. So first of all, in order to have deals like this cross your desk, you kind of have to be at the trough, as we say. You got to be out there, got to have some exposure. So even from running ads out there, just letting folks know that you are in real estate, you buy houses, and in particular, in cases like sub-twos, if you want to target those, you may even target people behind in payments. Tired landlords is just really, that's a little nugget. That's really, seems to be the hot sector, if you will, within the real estate and potential investing opportunities, because of the fact that many, even if they were paying their own mortgage, they weren't necessarily collecting. So again, knowing kind of who to target, what to look for, and having some of your own exposure, which is getting some ads out there, is really key. But I think the
if I can hit pause on that real fast. So if I'm just kind of a person that's looking to get into this, maybe sticking the toe in the water for real estate, when you say who to identify, how to identify them, if you could kind of go down that rabbit hole
sure.
a little bit.
So knowing, if sub-twos are of interest, and certainly there's some great opportunities we think forthcoming, understanding that, and I'll just say it in very layman's terms, folks that are behind a few payments really are a great demographic for sub-twos. There has to be a motivation of the seller in some way for them to deed the home to you and leave the mortgage in place. And when they're getting ready to lose it, maybe to foreclosure, and whether there's equity or not, that's something that most want to avoid. And so there are list brokers out there where you can buy lists. So wherever you live, you want to choose a zip code, maybe a couple zip codes, pockets of homes that might be decent areas, decent schools, and kind of middle of the road is something that I always feel is kind of the average. You can get a lot of folks in that middle of the road demographic that may be behind in payments. List brokers can identify who is in list pendants, who is has NODs, and they can do very basic mailings that let the homeowner or the landlord know that you're out there, that you buy, and ultimately they have all the verbiage together. You don't have to create the verbiage. They've got postcards and letters pre-made, but identifying pre-foreclosures in areas and pockets that you want to work in, and having some direct mail dropped. You can do it in kind of smaller quantity, so it's not cost prohibitive. That would be really the best starting point, I would say, to just kind of get out there and shake the tree, see what's available.
Are there services out there that you're familiar with, that you've had good experiences with, that you could recommend
absolutely.
to the audience right now?
Absolutely. So we like REI Print Mail is a great mail house. We use a program also called Freedom Soft that does a lot of stuff, very, very good functions. But for direct mail, REI Print Mail is who we like to recommend. They do a great job. And again, what's nice about them is not only do they have everything pretty much pre-made for you, you don't have to create all the buzzwords and phrases, but they actually have coaches that will coach you through who you're trying to target and how the best get them. So that's a nice value that they don't charge for, having coaches available.
So that was Freedom Soft?
That was REI Print Mail.
REI Print Mail,
yep.
And then obviously Freedom Soft as well, you said. So
Yep.
guys, when you can go out there and you can find services that are tried, true, and trusted, and obviously these are what he's utilizing to uncover these type of deals, don't go out there and reinvent the wheel. Guys, obviously go ahead and do your own research on these companies, but if you really want to automate your business, you want to uncover these off-market homes, these are a couple tips and references from an industry expert in sub-2. So it sounds to me like this is solving a problem, which a lot of times in real estate, particularly in distressed real estate, is how that works. So if you could kind of break down what that problem is and what the solution is. So
Sure.
How do you kind of pair those two together? A lot of these sellers are not necessarily set out to be sellers. They're in a distressed situation.
Right.
A lot of them are simply looking for debt service. They want to get out from underneath immense amounts of debt. If they think they're going to lose their home, they don't want to destroy their credit. So I'm hearing that's kind of the problem, right?
Yeah, and so we like to operate doing business win-win, and so we've always felt, and of course I'm preaching to the choir here, that it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game where you win and the other person loses. So when you have a situation where a seller has equity in the home, whether it's a landlord, it's their own personal residence, whether they have no equity, at the end of the day, if you have a foreclosure on your credit, a full-blown foreclosure, you're going to have a tough time buying a house again anytime soon. But there's also the collateral damage. You want to go buy a car, you want to go buy a TV, credit cards, all of your other financial aspects of your life are affected when you have a full-blown foreclosure on your credit. So people get to a certain point, and as I always say, motivation is a real funny thing. If you spend your time trying to figure out why people do what they do, you're going to be thinking a lot, because there are things that just don't make a lot of sense. People that have essentially relegated to the fact they're going to lose the home, that they are going to lose the equity, that now they just don't want to have that full-blown foreclosure on their credit, you can come in and offer a solution where you'll catch up the payments, You'll take over all responsibility for the home. So now this asset to the seller has become really an albatross. And again, that goes from asset to liability. That's the motivational switch. And now they're really motivated to do something to avoid a full-blown foreclosure. So to come in and agree
or
to...
a deed in lieu or a short sale. I mean, there's
multiples. All of those are going to nick the credit, obviously. And so at what point do you catch it before it ultimately gets to a stage where it may not be, redeemable, or at least your credit has gone so far it's going to be really challenging to get that fixed before foreclosure. So to get the right situation, the right motivation, you're helping them by helping them avoid a full-blown foreclosure, saving their credit really from some long-term damage, and ultimately catching up the payments. If there's equity in the property, which there obviously are, you're going to get that in many cases, there are ways that the seller can even capture some of the equity. It may be down the road at the back end of the deal, so to speak. There are times where if there's enough equity, it may make sense to come out of pocket a few dollars to give the seller some walk-in money. Again, it depends on your situation as an investor, the seller's situation, obviously, but we love when there's no cash, no credit, and even if they're behind in payments, we will try to find a buyer for it, or maybe a lease purchase buyer that can give us a down payment. We'll catch up the payments with their money, so we don't have to come out of pocket with any. That's the optimal
And then
scenario.
they ultimately become the tenant.
That's
that
right.
Is then
That's
ultimately paying the mortgage, obviously.
Right.
So you're not even covering that debt service. Interesting. I love the model. Love the model. Love the model. Can't say that enough, guys. It's going to be really prevalent with what's coming up here. We talk often on the channel, again, about reading these tea leaves, this trend. And guys, when people are upside down, they will do some things. You might be watching this video right now and think, why the heck would someone transfer title of their home and still stay on the mortgage? We get that question often, and it's circumstance. I mean, period. So, put yourself in those shoes, and you might not make the exact same decision. Guys, this is not for everyone as a seller. It's not a needle in the haystack scenario. It's going to be a lot more prevalent, obviously, as people get behind on payments. But we have done a lot of these deals. So it is possible. You just need to know how to do them. Anyways, guys, love bringing this information to the table. Those of you that are already affiliated with Pink, obviously, we love having you on here, guys. You all are family. Obviously, this guy next to me. We love having him on here as well. One of the foremost authorities, particularly in non-traditional real estate. These no cash, no credit deals, guys, you can make a lot of money. Those of you that are watching that are already part of our family are already doing so. If you're thinking about making the leap, obviously, we're going to encourage you to do your own due diligence. Tons of information out there, tons of testimonials. We can provide you with references of people that are doing exactly what you are looking to do right now. Staying on the sidelines is never going to make you more money. There's never a better time to start investing in yourself or in something, any asset class, right? Doesn't have to be Pink. Than today. So that being said, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button below if you want more information like this. You want us to bring this guy back on the channel multiple more times to give his wealth of knowledge to our audience. If you are a subscriber, thanks again for joining us. If you are not, please go ahead and subscribe. We're looking for like-minded folks here on the channel that want to learn more about ways to make money in real estate. And of course, hit that bell below. That's going to give you notifications and updates when we bring more content on Pink TV. Guys, we are super stoked about this video series right now. We're going to bring Scott back on for 5 additional videos specific to sub 2. So take notes if you're interested in this, if you're interested in building up your portfolio with very little money out of pocket. Stay tuned. Thank you.